Hey guys, welcome back to Hell Is Us. This is part 19, our final part of the playthrough. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe while you're here so you're always notified when I come out with a new video. You should start at the loading screen, choose your save file. It should have a little squiggly thing in the corner to show it's the correct one that you've actually completed the game and you're going into post-game. And wherever you are, just warp back to the APC. We're going to get inside and we're going to pop a couple of trophies because you will retain all items collected in the first playthrough. So speak to Tanya.
Let me know if you
Let's
need
do
more
some
information.
research. Once you give her the Bowl of Ash, you'll get the Gentleman Scholar trophy for researching all Order of the Eye items. And she will give you her
first draft on the
article once you've let her research that. You can read the article, it's pretty interesting. All her articles are interesting, but they're very long. Next, let's research the Bronze Cup, and that earns you the Sworn to Secrecy trophy, and that's for researching all items related to the Vigil. Once she researches it, she will give you an article on that as well. And if you're as interested in the story as I was, you will definitely want to read all of these articles. Once you're finished with that, you'll see we're not completely done. We still have to find a few more research items to complete all of the sets, but we're making really good progress. Here I'm going to go in and look at the good deeds. This shows that every good deed is completed. We still have one to turn into Gildas, but we're going to do that all the way at the end of the video. When you look at the mysteries, you can see we have a few that aren't completed. One in Senedra Forest, one in Acasa Marshes, one in Lake Sinon. And I think all the rest of them are completed. They are. So we have 3 mysteries left to resolve. So that means we'll be headed to Acasa Marshes, Senedra Forest, and Vissa Hills. You can see time loops here. We still have rewards to collect for a couple of them. And there's one in Senedra Forest that we have not found yet. So, to kick things off, we're first going to go to Senedra Forest and we're going to spend quite a bit of time there clearing out enemies so that we can collapse the final time loop. We were not able to access it before. As of right now, I'm really just going through my inventory and changing a couple of things up, but this should be pretty simple and straightforward and also not very difficult. There you'll see the Plains of Mist. It shows there's threats there, but there aren't. That one city sometimes doesn't show clear, or it will show threats and then it'll just pop up clear after a second or two. Every other area is clear. See there, Plains of Mist is now clear. I don't know why it does that. Senedra Forest is the only place we have left to clear, so let's head there now. And I am going to cut out a little bit. You'll see. I'm going to cut out a little bit of backtracking because I did miss some level 2 threats. So I won't make you sit through all of that, I promise. Once you get back to Senedra Forest, go ahead and start clearing out the area. So head back over to where the house is, where Ernest lives. We're going to have a couple of enemies that are roaming around in this part of the wooded area. There's the one over by the truck that we just took out. And there may be 1 or 2 more. I'm going to run through every part, even though you've been through this area enough, or you should know that the forest looks bigger than it actually is. There really isn't all that many places to hide if you're a hollow walker. So just run through everywhere that you possibly can in this lower area of the forest. And then when you get back up to the APC, we want to go check out the other part of the forest. Take out every enemy that you possibly can. Don't forget that there is a base camp up the hill. We're going to have to go there also. This I can't tell if I missed that note in the first time around or if it respawned after we ended the game. I think I probably missed it, but it's not essential for anything. I picked it up because it was there, but you don't need it. I think it's the very first note you're supposed to run into to solve the Cadell family treasure, which is the very first mystery that we solved. So if you missed it the first time, there it is. Let's make our way up the hillside here. This is a larger area of the forest, but still not overly large. And all of these enemies are level 1, so one hit should take them all out. Check every path that you possibly can, because there will be some enemies that are hiding in dead ends. Yeah, this won't take you long at all. There we got a Timeloop Guardian, and those appear later. Like when you come through the first couple of times, you won't get the Timeloop Guardian there. It's not until later because we have to collect a Lymbic rod in order to open a door that's going to lead us to the Timeloop itself. So you'd have to come through here anyway to find the Timeloop Guardians before you can collapse that Timeloop. I'm not giving you too much navigation here because we've gone through this forest a few times now. It's not very large, and pretty much every path either leads to a dead end or it folds in on itself. Up there by the red cairn, there's a Timeloop Guardian. Now we're back at the camp where we had to pick up the med kit for the wounded soldier in the very first video. There will be enemies here, and there's a couple dead ends. You want to make sure to check them out and make sure that there aren't any enemies hiding there. Also, if you are interested in reading some of the things that we couldn't read before, you can run all the way back to the very start of the game. If you remember, the very first research item that we picked up, there was something written on a stone there, and we didn't have the drone yet. So if you're curious, you can go and read that. It's not essential. It's just a little reminder that it is there. And then, of course, around here, if you didn't read any of the items before you got the drone, after you got the drone, then you can read those now. There's a couple of things up by the camp. There's an enemy over by the blue cairn as well. I think we've mostly got this area cleared, but I am going to continue running the paths to make sure that I haven't missed anything. We don't want to have to come back through here. We want to take out every enemy possible now before we go and collapse that time loop. I'm even going to come down here into the Vault of Forbidden Knowledge just to make sure there wasn't an enemy that spawned there, but it is empty. So we're going to start making our way down the hill now. We still have to go over to the trenches, which, as you know, there are several enemies over there in that area. So now that we're back over near the APC, go up the hill around the ruins, and there will be several enemies over by the trenches, as well as beyond, that lead you to the Arcus Spire. So we're just going to go through and take out these guys at the trenches first. Don't forget there are several inside of the trenches, and there are several that are playing possum on top. Here, I'm kind of run down into the ruins here because there are a bunch of enemies in here as well. Again, they're all level 1, so one hit should take them all out. Your twin axes should be completely upgraded at this point, and if they aren't, this is a good way to get there. So this is all very, very linear. If you remember, you really can't get lost down here. So just follow the path through all of the available areas, taking out every enemy. Now, of course, you can skip ahead to the next section if you don't want to follow along. But in the meantime, for those who want to stick around, I'll just say this is one of the more tedious processes in this game. Having to go back and clear the enemies and having pretty much all of them respawn. Because the only ones who don't are the Timeloop Guardians. And typically, you might get 5, 6, maybe 8 in one area before you get the sound that says they're all done and you can collapse the time loop. So it's really not that many enemies that are that are taken out permanently. When you come to this room where you first gathered up your weapon, don't forget to come into these side rooms, because this is where we went to figure out how to open up the door. There are enemies back here, so do not forget to come down here and take these guys out. Otherwise, you'll be backtracking a really long way, because if you remember, the side that we first entered is collapsed. There won't be any enemies further down because we had no weapons at that point, so you don't have to go any further than this. You can start heading back, and as soon as you can, as soon as you find a save point, you can just warp back to the APC if you like. You don't have to go all the way through this entire area. Just find a save point, warp back, and then you're much, much closer to the trenches. For now, of course, I guess I probably should have just gone a little bit further in and used the save point that was just a little further in. But instead, I came up to this one, so we'll warp back to the APC now. And then we can head back over to the trenches and take out the rest of the enemies there. Now there are enemies off to the right, but we're going to come back to those later. Let's head down to the trenches first. Remember, on top of the trenches, you can cross these little bridges to get to enemies that are just laying on the ground, and they'll be aggroed when you walk by. And then you can see down in the trench itself, there are several enemies down here as well. I feel like the first time I came through here, I was so confused. It's like my brain wasn't able to map the area. And now that I've been through them, probably more times than you guys have, because I've done 3 playthroughs, I feel like I don't understand why I was so confused. You know, it seems perfectly normal now. But I think that happens a lot, actually. Okay, so we're going to go travel to the left, going to the Arcus Spire first, because as you remember, there are 2 enemies just outside the spire, and there's also a whole bunch of enemies along the way, the easy humanoid looking enemies. So let's go and take these guys out. We are almost done. Once we do this, we'll head back, take out the final enemy above the trenches, and then we'll be able to access the time loop. I'm still picking up all the shards, but I really don't need them. I can't, unless I would want to go and upgrade other weapons and try play through with that, but I don't. Head down the stairs and take these two guys out. Keep in mind that inside of the Arca Spire are all level 2 enemies. So everything out here are level 1s that are associated with the time loop that we have not yet collapsed. So if you look at your navigation screen and you don't have any level 2 enemies that are still showing instead of clear, then you'll have to go back into the spire and look for any enemies. But if you did everything properly, which I'm going to go ahead and admit I did not, I did miss one very small group of enemies in the Arca Spire. Once you complete this, then your navigation computer should say clear. So head back over here in the area just above the trenches. I did save this one enemy. We're going to take him out. And then you probably don't remember, but up here in this very small set of ruins, there was a door that we could not open. We now have the correct rod to unlock the door, well, the final 2 rods. Place them in and the door will open. This is the mystery of the Lymbic door in Senedra Hilltop. It's now solved. This is a very small area. Come inside and you will have a few brief blinked enemies that you'll have to take out before we can access the time loop. This is the final time loop guardian. We can now collapse the time loop. Don't forget to pick up the drone module in the corner. On the left side of the room, there is a miscellaneous item, a journal entry. And then over on the right side of the room, we can pick up the research item, Ancient Scroll. And once you've collected those items, go ahead and enter the time loop. And we can use the correct Amine prism to collapse it. Being that these are all, this is associated with all level 1 enemies, it's going to be the Sigma Amine prism, which you probably only have 1 left. For some reason, we use all of those. And now the time loop is collapsed. If you did not pop your trophy, Legend of the Phol, right here, then that means you still have enemies to clear out, because that trophy is for collapsing every time loop and clearing out all enemies. So, being that I did not pop the trophy here, I'm going to head back over to my APC and I'm going to check out the navigation map to see where I missed something. For all of you who did pop the trophy there, congratulations. That's awesome. We're going to go ahead and let Tanya do some research while we're in here. Hand her the Ancient Scroll and you should get the Historian trophy for researching all items relating to Hadea. Hadea? I don't know, however you want to say it. She'll give you her article on the first Hadeans. You can read that if you like. And once you're done there, let's go to the navigation computer and check it out. You can see here all of these areas are clear. Senedra Forest has level 2 threats. So that means we need to go back into the Arca Spire. Hopefully, because it's like 1 enemy. It's a small group of humanoid enemies that I missed, but I should have seen it. Hopefully you didn't miss it and you can skip ahead and you don't have to watch this. I'm gonna cut out a whole bunch of it, but I will go back and show you exactly where I missed my enemy, just in case. If you followed me 1-to-1, then you know exactly where to go to find the enemy that you missed. I'm not gonna force you to go through all the cells and all that stuff. I do all of that off camera. Well, I cut it all out. I did go back and I inspected every single cell on every single level in the Spire. The Spire is probably the largest sort of dungeon area So, yeah. If it's going to save you some time, then I'll show you exactly where I had to go. Now, granted, you can run through here and take the elevator back up, because if you remember that we came out of a door in the beginning, it's right here up to the left. If you know where you missed the enemy, you can just take the elevator and make your way back around. But I'm going to go ahead and make a cut right here because I don't want you to have to go through all of that. This is where the time loop was, and I'm going to run through this area because at this point, I know I didn't miss anything anywhere else. I actually went through and looked in every nook and cranny. So up here, around the area where the time loop was, I'm just running around looking to see if there are any possible enemies I could have missed. There are, but oh man, honestly, I should have seen them. I really should have. I'm making my way around. I started going to the left. I think I keep going up to the top so that I get a better vantage point. As I come up here, I see the hollow humanoids laying right here. It is literally a super tiny group of them. And after I defeat them, I earn the Legend of the Phol trophy. That's for closing all the time loops and defeating all of the enemies in the entire game. So, with that done, we only have a few more trophies. We still have to resolve all the mysteries. We still have research items. We still have a cap. And we still have to acquire all relics. So, most of the rest of this video is just going to be popping trophies. Here, I'm making my way down to the elevator, and I'm going to cut out all of that so that we can just get moving on to the next trophy. That chest is shining, but we already opened it. I'm not sure why it's shining. So anyway, back at the APC, we're going to hop inside. Let's go over to the navigation computer, and we're going to head over to Acasa Marshes. If you remember, we were able to pick up a full bottle of mead earlier in Lake Sinon. We're going to go and deliver that now. I guess that guy was too drunk to leave when all the other soldiers left. I don't know, but I guess we're probably about to make it worse. So, let's go into Jova. If you remember, he's right behind Vitalis' home, sitting over here. Let's trade with him the full bottle of mead. He's going to give us a key to the Jova office. So, come back toward the center and you can climb up where this red roofed building is. You can climb up those pallets, get up to the roof and climb a ladder. In this blown out roof at the back, there is a little red orb. You can pick up a few suppressors. Not that we're going to need them, but just in case, they are here. And then drop out of the other hole onto the small balcony. Use the key to unlock the door here. That solves the mystery of the captain's office. Come over to this coat rack and grab the Sabinian cap. This is cap number 9. Go into your inventory and your loadout and put the cap on. Once you put it on, you get the Passion for Fashion trophy for finding all of the baseball caps in the game. Like I said, you do have to wear each one of them to pop the trophy. So if you did miss any, just put them all on now. You can also find a defensive item there. You can pick up a recording to listen to, and we get a research item, the Prison Manifest. With that completed, we're going to go over to the APC and let Tanya do some research. Once you give her
if you need more information on something.
This Prison Manifest, we'll get the War Correspondent trophy, and that's for researching all Civil War items. And we're also going to get the Well-Read trophy, and that is for researching all items. So you should be completely done with research at this point.
There is a vault of forbidden knowledge in Akasa Marshes.
Of course, she's going to give you the final Vault of Forbidden Knowledge, which is, I think, in Senedra Forest, but like I said, we already brute forced that one open. Now, the vault in the Akasa Marshes, we have not opened yet, so we do have to do that while we're here. We have a couple of things to do here, actually. First, we are going to head over to the Abbey. Our final mystery is over there. And you probably don't remember because it was a very small thing, but you can see the Abbey off to the right. And you remember where the bonfires were burning? You can still see burning over in that area. You can see the black smoke. You had to go into the Abbey from the side. And you knew where to go because there was a large bonfire of burning books right in front of the side entrance. That's where we're headed. So just make your way across. Again, there shouldn't be any enemies in your way if you've cleared out the area. Akasa Marshes is probably the toughest one to clear, so just take out any enemies if you have any left. Hopefully you don't. This is the main entrance to the Abbey off to the right, but we never could get in that way. We have to go over to this bonfire here, around through the crack in the mountain, and there's another bonfire. On the left side of that, we can go up some stairs into a little alcove, and if you remember, there's a chest here. We have the key for the chest to unlock it, so let's use the rustic key to open up this chest, and we get the Super Sleuth trophy, and that is for resolving all mysteries in the game. So now you should have no more mysteries to solve at all. That leaves us only one trophy left. Finally, we are almost done. We have only 2 trophies left. If you count the platinum, which you know is just going to automatically pop when you get the last one. I just went over to the nearest save point and I warped over to the APC because it's much closer from there to get to the Vault of Forbidden Knowledge. If you remember, it is down at the ON camp. You can see there are a bunch of ruins behind a fence over here. We're going to go around the back, make our way around to a small cave-like area that's going to lead to the vault door. And even though there is only one trophy associated with the vaults, once you open your first one, you pop a trophy. We do have to go inside because the final trophy is for acquiring all relics. And that's something that cannot be done without opening every vault and solving every mystery, doing all the good deeds, because all of those different things provide relics. Now, once you get to the door, we're gonna use the Old Faithful code: Rage, Ecstasy, Terror, and Grief. Each symbol that is associated with the weapons that we carry. Please do it in that order: Rage first, Ecstasy second, Terror third, Grief finally. The door will open, and inside we're gonna get a treasure trove of items. Of course, several miscellaneous items, sorry, not research. These are pretty much in these vaults. They're always really old. They're really, really ancient. We're gonna get a weapon of each variety, each Lymbic variety. So you get the Pole Arm of Terror and the Great Sword of Rage. Also some Twin Axes of Ecstasy. As you can see, we get a lot of repeat weapons. There's even more miscellaneous items inside, of course, for your reading pleasure. Over here, there's some tuning stones, just in case you need more to upgrade some of your other weapons. There's a Sword of Grief as well. And over in the corner is a relic. You need this relic to pop the final trophy. So, with that completed, we can head on back over to the APC. All we really have left to do at this point is pay a visit to Gildas and collect rewards for the final time loops that we collapsed and good deeds that we performed. I have to say, a lot of these mysteries and good deeds, they really spanned across a lot of different areas, and there were a couple of times where I felt stumped for a little while because I wasn't exactly sure what to do with an item that I picked up. It's a good thing that I took notes while I was playing, because if I hadn't taken notes, I don't think I would have figured out every single mystery, every single good deed. Some of these were really tough. Hop back in the APC. Here in the data pad, you can see that I have a good deed here that I haven't collected on. All of the mysteries are now completed. I think we had 3 left when we started the video. They're all done. And the time loops, it looks like I have 3 to turn in. So let's go over to the navigation, and we're going to travel over to Vissa Hills. This will be our final destination for the entire game. And of course, once we park, we can go to the front of the APC and climb up the ladder to quickly reach Gildas. It's kind of bittersweet knowing that this is finally over. This was a long one. Not my longest guide, but still, it's up there. It's pretty long. This was a really nice run. I may come back and play this on my own on hard. Just to see, just to test my skills. I don't know. So make your way into this area where Gildas hangs out. The Eagle's Nest? I don't know. The Watcher's Nest? It's the Watcher's Nest. Let's go over to Gildas.
Remember,
and we are going to ask him if we've completed enough good deeds. He'll give us a relic. Then we hand over the time loops. And once you do that,
won't last very long.
You're going to earn the Antiquarian trophy for acquiring all relics. And we will also earn the Hero of Hadea trophy. That is the platinum for completing everything available in the game. We are finally finished. So finish collecting all of your relics from Gildas and your glyphs and whatever else he is so inclined to give you. There's quite a bit. And that is going to end it for Hell Is Us. Thank you all so much for joining me on this trophy guide and walkthrough. I hope you had fun. I know I did. And I can't wait to see you back here in our next game. Until then, Khajiit always has wares.